Hey guys, welcome back to the 23rd episode of Football Ninja Podcast. I'm your host Amit. Joining me is Karthik. Hey Karthik, how are you?
Hey Amit, all good. How are you?
Good Karthik. What an amazing week we had for football. Let's start with Spurs versus Chelsea. Let's straight away get into from the manager's perspective here. Jose Mourinho, for the first time in his managerial career, losing at home back to back. Do you think he's declining as a manager?
I mean, he is. I mean, that's what he does, right? In any club that he goes, that's what sort of happens to him. Usually in third year. This is just his second. And we know he's been talking about Harry Kane being not available, Lo Celso being not available, a good Dele Ali
is
not available. But Reguilon was not available. But you know, which team doesn't have injuries right now?
Yeah.
Right, every team has. You have to cope up with that. You have to, compete for the top six. You need to win games. As simple as that. You cannot give excuses about injuries and things like that. A lot of teams are going through that, but there is something going wrong with Jose Mourinho as always.
And as pragmatic Jose Mourinho is, looking at the stats, he has just kept a clean sheet of 26% of his matches in charge of Tottenham. The lowest that he had before this was in his initial years in 2001-2002. And I think now Spurs is winless since 2nd Jan.
Yeah.
Where does he stand? Do you see him getting fired this season? The second manager to get fired?
He's not at Chelsea right now to get fired. I think he's gonna probably he'll stick at least till the end of the year. But you never know nowadays. Club owners are getting restless. They do fire managers.
Yeah.
But it's Spurs, which is. So it is a little. I don't think they're gonna fire because there's definitely gonna be a good severance package that would be included in it, and no, he's not like Roman Abramovich that he's gonna pay that amount of money. So I think they're gonna stick with him, but yeah, he's definitely declining.
And then also the form of Spurs has fallen down drastically right now. They have suffered 3 successive Premier League defeats for the first time since November 2012. I think there's enough evidence that if he would have been in any other top 6 club, he would have been definitely fired by now. We saw that with Lampard as well, as disheartening that is. And talking about Lampard, let's move to Thomas Tuchel. He won his first London derby. How was Chelsea's game for you? Though the win came from a penalty, but how was the game overall?
I mean, it was good. You're seeing that improvement, game on game. And definitely this was a tough game early on for him, since the time he's joined. But I think he managed it well. He did have an injury. Thiago Silva is out. He'll probably be out for at least the next game. We still don't know the extent of the injury, but hopefully he's back soon. But that he's going to be a big miss. But then I think in terms of the game, I think they managed well. Mason Mount again, the man of the match. He had an amazing game. I think
he missed a nice opportunity there to score.
Yeah, I mean it was a good save by Lloris. That's true. I think there were certain improvements from Werner as well in terms of the runs that he was making. You saw a good connection between Azpilicueta and Werner, giving some good passes around. And I think Jorginho is back again to his best. He's been playing really well under Thomas Tuchel. And he's also threatening Kante of his position now. And Kante hasn't been in his best form. So when he came on against Tottenham, he did not have a very great 30 odd minutes that he was on. So I think they're playing well. Kovacic is doing well. So he's it's getting there, and I think he's doing a great job till now. Moving the ball quickly, which I think they were sort of lacking under Lampard, and at least creating certain chances. They did not have a lot of chances against Tottenham, but they are starting to create that. I think that's good to see.
And the Chelsea side that we're seeing right now, I don't think this is the final side because he's still trying to experiment with players. And with this experiment, we are seeing Azpilicueta in his new role where he's trying to cross. I think the chance that Werner obviously was a difficult chance to score, but then that was created by Azpilicueta.
Yeah, I mean it's again I see some similarities between when Antonio Conte came in, and definitely he's playing with a 3-4-3 formation as of now. I think he's going to stick with it. I think Alonso's back in the team. He's playing in his best position that is there. The left wing,
Scoring
the left
goals
wing back,
too.
scoring goals. He's threatening Chilwell of his position. I think Chilwell did not have a great game. The first game that he was there. So he's still trying out, different personnel, different people, different players. In different positions, so he'll definitely come up with a team. I think after 5 or 6 games, he'll definitely have a team that he wants to play game in, game out. I think the defense line has been good. They haven't let in a goal yet, so I think they are doing good.
And as an Spurs fan, we want to know from you guys. Definitely, Jose Mourinho, when he came in, and especially this season itself, you guys were number one. Now the deal with the devil has gone the wrong side. Please let us know, is this Jose Mourinho out time or not, in the comments below. Moving to the next game, Karthik, the highly anticipated game between Liverpool versus City. A lot of things have been said before the game. Klopp going out talking about how much extra time City had because of the COVID issue, and Pep Guardiola obviously talking about, I'll talk to him on the pitch. What do you say about this game, Karthik? Obviously, bad performance for Liverpool at home, losing back-to-back 2 games. Are they sick of home?
Maybe. I think what's also happening is they are in a run of bad form right now, and it's in the game against Brighton, they sort of look mentally tired. They did look tired. They did not create enough chances. They could not play their game. And I think all credit to Brighton. They played really well. They managed the game really well. Even against Tottenham, they played an amazing one and won that game. But coming back to Liverpool, I think they do have, again, Alisson is missing. Van Dijk have been out for a long time now. So they don't have their usual team. That also takes a toll. Mane was out for the last game, but hopefully he'll be back against City. In terms of the game, I think this has always been City and Liverpool has always been the home team coming on top. So I'm hoping that Liverpool can bounce back from their losses and get a win against City, or at least have a good game. If not win, have a good game against them.
And this is the first time we are seeing Klopp under a lot of pressure, and that I think from the past 3 years that he has been on Liverpool, we have not seen this side of him. And now that there's a lot of pressure on him, we see him, talking just like Mourinho would do, starting those mental games before the game even starts. And Liverpool have failed to score 3 consecutive home league games for the first time since October 1984. The Reds are goalless in 348 minutes at home.
So I think Klopp is also frustrated at this point. They are unable to score goals, create those chances that they used to. I think they have also been losing a lot of balls in midfield. So it's definitely frustrating for him, and it's sort of coming out in his press conferences now. Like you said, he's not seen this kind of a bad form, at least in the last 3 years. So it is a difficult period for him, and hopefully he'll come out of it. But it's always difficult for managers when they go through this.
But do you think that this bad form of Liverpool is because they are missing at least one key player, that is Van Dijk? Because on paper they were better than Brighton, which they lost to. Obviously Brighton is playing amazing football. The goal that they scored was, that entire link was amazing. The final shot was something that we can speak about that, but the entire gameplay which led to the goal was brilliant. Same thing was very similar to what they did against Spurs as well. The goal that they scored against them was amazing. But coming to Liverpool, do you think that Liverpool as a team, as a defending champion, is doing what a defending champion should do, or they are not doing that because of the injuries?
They are definitely not doing what they are supposed to do, and I think they were too dependent on Van Dijk and then Alisson as well. Alisson has saved their asses a lot of times, and then he's also out injured now. So there's definitely that plays a role, and then Henderson being in that position, he's not a centre back. Yes, he's been doing well in that role, but it's always difficult when you have a defensive midfield playing in that role. It's not going to be the same for sure.
And do you also think that when we saw Liverpool's heat map right now, they are going very narrow. The gameplay is not as stretched as that they did in the previous season. Do you like focus that problem with the three strikers not in form? We saw Mane coming late, but he could not do anything. And they have not, as told earlier, they have not scored in almost 4 games now at home. So where do you put that?
I think it's also because they missed Trent Alexander-Arnold in a couple of games, and they did not get that sort of that natural width that they get from him, and that is why if you see the most of the play that they have is in midfield. It's in the center of the park.
Yeah.
And it's only going where on the left side where Robertson plays in these games that we were looking at. So they are definitely more. I think it's all about like how dependent Liverpool are on certain players, and it's showing when they are missing from the team.
And you know who they are missing right now? Andy Carroll. I think in some point in January he had more goals than Liverpool as a team. Let's move to Pep Guardiola. Karthik. City have 13 games winning streak in all competition. I think they are competing with Arsenal's record when they were in
They are only the second team to do that.
Talk about their form. Let's talk about their defense as well. I think they've incurred only 12 or 11 goals in this season. I think that is also because Stones and Ruben Diaz partnership.
I think in the last 6 games where Stones and Ruben Diaz have been in that centre back role, they've just conceded 1 goal, which is really great. And I think they are playing well. I think we sort of underestimated at the beginning of the season that it's going to be difficult for City without Aguero, without Laporte, who was also missing through injury. But I think they are doing well. Kevin De Bruyne is still not in the team, but it's not like they're missing him. I mean, they are, but obviously if he was in the team, they would have scored more goals for sure. But I think they are managing well without him, and getting those wins. They are not defensively, they are rock solid right now. It's difficult for teams to penetrate them.
Yeah, and also defensively they are doing good as a partnership between them, and then also scoring goals.
Yeah. So I think it's working well. They are not scoring a lot of goals. If you see the last 2 games, they just scored. They just scored 1 and then 2 against Burnley last time. Not scoring a lot of goals like they usually do. But they're getting the 3 points, and that's what matters at this time. And deservedly, they are at the top of the table right now.
And interestingly, what we're seeing with City right now is I think Gundogan was top scorer. Right below him, there is I think Sterling or Jesus. So these guys are as a unit scoring a lot of goals instead of it used to be always Aguero. Scoring a lot of goals, but now I think they have split that responsibility in 3 or 4 players.
Yeah, I think Gundogan has been really good. At least in Jan, he scored 5 goals. Only in January. So he's been in good form for Guardiola. He's always been a great player. But then he's always overshadowed by the likes of Bernardo Silva or Kevin De Bruyne. But he's getting the goals that he. That City needs right now, and getting the job done.
The only stat that is positive for Liverpool right now is Pep Guardiola has more games at Anfield without a win. So he has, I think, played 4 games, 1 draw and 3 losses. That's the only positive thing for Liverpool right now. But do you think that stat will change come this game?
I think so. But I think Liverpool also would be in that drive to get that win at home. Which they have been missing, so it's gonna be a good competition. I think especially Liverpool. If you see this year, they have found it hard to break down teams who sit back. So like Burnley or Brighton, like we saw with them. But City is not going to be that team. They're not going to sit back. And, so hopefully we're going to see a little change, or a different gameplay from Liverpool, and it's going to be a good game. It's going to be an exciting one.
If it is not, then it'll be like
the Arsenal United 0-0
or the Liverpool United 0-0.
I hope that doesn't happen.
So before moving on to the next topic, guys, let us know, is Liverpool sick of home right now, or not, or probably we'll get this answer by this game, end of this game. Moving to the next topic, Karthik, let's talk about the red card controversy. Bednarik got his red card revoked, unlike David Lewis. And I genuinely thought David Lewis had nothing to do with that red card, but his red card stays.
I mean, it's unfortunate, man. I mean, I still don't see a contact. I've seen it a lot of times. Still did not see a contact. Maybe there was a contact, but even if it was there, he had no intention of that contact, and he was trying to slow down. If he was running back, but he was like trying to slow down because he knew he's gonna trip the guy, and it's unfortunate that his red card stood, or at least it could have, at least what could have happened is they could have reduced the ban of 3 games, but that also did not happen. It's definitely not a red card for me.
But do you think from the perspective of the game itself, I think that red card changed the entire game for Bulls? Unlike the Southampton red card, because the team was anyways losing, and that red card came out late in the second half as well. So that did not have that much impact, and probably referees were okay to revoke that and not this.
I mean, I don't think that matters. We are just looking at the incident. We're focusing on the incident. We're not focusing on how much impact did that have on the game.
But that definitely had impact.
That did have impact. But I'm talking from the referee's point of view. They, for them, how much impact did that have on the game should not matter, right? And I think in that way, because David Lewis's red card had more impact, his red card should have been revoked.
No, but then that's what I'm saying. If that red card would have been revoked, then what happens to the final? So Wolves won. They won only because he got a red card.
And because of John Tino's.
Yeah, but then that would have been an equalizer, not a winning goal. Yeah. And then they would have been one man up, so it would have been 11-11.
I mean, it's a tough call, but it's not a red card for sure for me, at least for me.
Okay. Moving to the next game, Everton versus Leeds. Everton 2-1 lucky win against Leeds. They were on fire. Leeds were playing really well. I think Rafinha became the second player to score home and away against Everton. Obviously, Dominic Calvert-Lewin scoring his 8th header. Just behind Lewandowski now in Europe. He has 12 headers and he has 8. Everton plays United next, Karthik. How does that put that game in perspective?
It's gonna be a tough one for either of the teams. It's not gonna be easy for United or for Everton. It's Ancelotti we're talking about, so he's definitely gonna come with a strategy, come with a game plan against United. I'm sure he's been watching a lot of videos, doing a lot of homework.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be a good one. I think it will be sort of decided in the midfield who has better control of the ball in midfield, and probably it would also be decided how Martial plays that game. He did have a nice cameo against Southampton.
Yeah, that's why. So whenever he scores a goal, actually that has zero impact on the team results. Like Martial scoring 2 goals in a 9-0 victory over Southampton.
We have been talking about Martial not scoring goals, and then when he scores 2, nobody's talking about it.
That's because
he scored 9.
But that had absolutely no impact on the results anyways. That's what he does. Like when he has chances to score goals that will have impact, he doesn't do that. So I think Everton United would be a really nice game. On obviously difficult game for United because it's at home. But I think the win against Southampton would give some confidence to the Reds, because now that we have won 9-0 at home, this would be their second chance to do a double this season.
I mean, was it also because of the red card? They were like 10 men down.
But that was an obvious red card on McTominay.
That was an obvious red card. I'm not saying that, but that did impact the game. They were they played the entire game with 10 men. So. But then I think Everton will be a very different one.
I think a 10-man side, I'm not saying it's easy, but then it's difficult to sometimes also break them.
Yeah.
We have seen that with a lot of teams, a lot of games. I think United won with the 10-man side in FA Cup final against Crystal Palace. That was also a difficult game. Guess who scored the winning goal then? Jesse Lingard, brother. He's in news. Moving to Leeds before going to Jesse Lingard. Crystal Palace plays against Leeds next. Crystal Palace has seen this amazing surge of form now. They won 2-0 against against Newcastle. That was an amazing game after 1-0 down, and Cahill scoring that brilliant header.
one of the the headers that he usually scores. And I think Crystal Palace did well. I think
Yeah.
um, um, they did manage the game well after they went down, and it was a good one for them. It was a good win for them.
So, what's your prediction? I've not asked you this question since we started this podcast, but what's your prediction? Leeds versus Crystal Palace.
I think Leeds will win this one. They're
That's
attacking.
the problem with Leeds, right? We see them attacking, and we every time there's a game against Leeds, you have some X factor, and you would predict them to win the game. But do you think Roy Hudson's side would play a little more careful against Leeds?
I mean, I don't know who's gonna win, but I'm sure it's gonna be an exciting. I mean, if Leeds is playing, it's always a good game to watch. You feel that excitement on the pitch. It's not a boring game at all. No matter how the other side is playing, Leeds are gonna fucking enjoy their game. So I'm still gonna go with Leeds winning it.
And let's just talk about the goal by Shelby. Harry Potter is coming for you. Goal. That was an amazing goal. I think it was
He only scores such goals, right? He doesn't score normal goals.
on par with Joe Martino's goal.
I think Joe Martino's was much better. Yeah, it was so much better.
But there was a deflection on that goal, right?
No, it wasn't. There wasn't no deflection. But I think first of all, his goal was from much far away.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like. I think Shelby's goal was also more on the counter attack, and they were all running back, and he just came into it. But Moutinho's goal was, through
The thing with Joe Martino's goal was that it took him 61 appearances to bag
Then he
one,
come up
and
with
that was
Then he come up
worth
with
it.
that. I'm willing to wait for another 61.
Okay, the last topic, Hardik. West Ham against Aston Villa. West Ham obviously in good form. So is Aston Villa. Our man Jesse scored 2 on debut. I think he's the only second player for West Ham to score two goals on debut. What a game was that for him. And let's also talk about Martinez.
Yeah,
I thought he was a better goalkeeper than that.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at Lingard's goal, I mean, no disrespect to him, of course. He did have an amazing debut, but I think it was also a mistake from Martinez for both the goals. He could have stopped that. I would expect him to stop that
because he has shown that in the past.
He's shown that exactly. So, but then he did have a bad game. But Lingard getting his goals, I'm happy for him. He's getting his confidence back. He probably, there would have been some doubt in United supporters. Did we make a mistake losing him? Maybe,
no, but I
maybe
think
not, but
he doesn't fit in the current United side anyways. And if he gets a first team chance in Premier League, I think that's a win-win for everyone.
Yeah. And I think it's a very similar situation to Ross Barkley right now at Aston
Villa.
Yeah. It's a similar situation, and both of them are doing well. I mean, at least Lingard did well on his first game. Barkley has been doing really well.
So are you saying Chelsea fans right now are not happy with Ross Barkley going to Aston Villa?
No, they are. I mean, see, I think what happened to him first of all, he was too hyped when he came to Chelsea. That he's an amazing player. He found it a little hard to fit into that team, and he did have some good games. He did score some good goals, but I think he still does not fit the system that that Chelsea is playing. So, but I'm happy for him. He's playing well at Aston Villa, doing well, scoring goals.
By the way, West Ham has earned 38 points from their 22 Premier League games this season, their highest tally at this stage since 1985-86. So David Moyes is doing really well now.
He's doing well. I think they are. I think for their aim for this season would have been a top 10 finish, a top half finish.
Now I think they're going for Europe.
Now they are, but I think that probably wasn't in his objectives, so-called objectives. But I think they are in contention if they keep playing the way they are. I think they at least Europa League is not too far away for them.
And let's talk about Antonio. He gave 2 assists.
To
that guy always shows up wherever it has to be required.
He's a great player. I mean, I think West Ham did miss him for a couple of games when he was out injured, but now he's back. And they're doing what he does.
West Ham plays Fulham, Karthik, next. What a game that will be. Fulham is in form. They are fighting away from relegation. Do you think something might happen in West Ham? I don't know.
It might. I mean, they have shown that that promise, or that they can play well, but I think it's difficult for them right now. They are 8 points away from relegation. They are at 14 points right now. So they are in a difficult situation at this moment. But they have shown that promise. There is still time for them to get out of that. There's still a lot of games to play. So I mean, but it's going to be a difficult game for them. To be honest, against West Ham. West Ham has been in good form, I think. Especially since the time he has had Souček and Declan Rice playing in that midfield. I think they have been phenomenal for David Moyes.
So moving to the last part of the podcast, Karthik, predictions. Let's talk about Spurs against West Brom. What do you think? West Brom, obviously, Big Salmon's and he would play very, very pragmatic. So on the ground, it'll be who's more pragmatic.
I'm gonna go with West Brom.
See, a nil-nil
because it's Big Sam.
A nil-nil is still West Brom.
Yeah.
So
I'm gonna go with West Brom. It's either a draw or a win for West Brom. Just because it's Big Sam.
Yeah. Let's talk about Sheffield United versus Chelsea. Sheffield United has seen that spike in form now. Obviously, winning against the top side, United, they have some form in their team. Do you think this would be another challenge that Thomas Tuchel would see?
In general, Chelsea have had troubles, with Sheffield United in the past. And I think it's gonna be a tough one again because it's difficult to break them down. They're very disciplined in terms of their formation. So it's gonna be a tough one, but I think Chelsea should do so this one.
With that, guys, finishing this podcast. This is your host Amit.
This is Karthik.
Thank you so much for joining. Cheers.
Thank you. Cheers.